Watching patiently through the spyglass until both advancing groups were in position, old man Quaid prepared for the assault. He drew his revolver with practiced skill, checking to ensure the cartridge cylinders were fully loaded. "We'll teach these wild savages a lesson they won't forget quickly," he said to the group of armed riders that waited with him. The party started out at a trot, but the pace soon quickened as the adrenaline began flowing. Nearing the breakaway gully that he had first seen through the spyglass, Quaid suddenly realised it was more than just a shallow impression. The sides were very deep, and he could see now that it had been a tactical error to disregard it without much consideration. The only way across was to move to the right-hand side down towards a heavily timbered creek and follow a narrow cattle pad, cutting down one side and following the dry watercourse along the bottom. Without a second thought, the elder Quaid sent his horse in at full gallop down the narrow trail. Meanwhile, hidden eyes observed the whole procedure. The hunters had been spotted on the high ground and then separated into three groups. Now the black ghost whispered their approval. The limb breaks easier than the trunk. They knew this, and now they were the added element of surprise. The silent onlookers were now also cunning, skilled warriors, each burning to prove his mettle in battle against the white pursuers. After the killing of the cattle, the tribe split into two groups, leaving the appearance that one group was weaker than the other. Fully hoping that they would be hounded by the white men on horseback, they now formulated a plan to compound the damage of the cattle spearing. This was traditional country for the Aborigines, and they knew every inch of the landscape, for their people had walked it for thousands of years. Now, at the last of the hunters disappeared into the deep breakaway gully, the ghost took on human form, advancing silently from the dense undergrowth. As they ran, the heavy shovel-nosed spears were locked into their throwing sticks, and then suddenly, as if a silent command had been shouted, lethal shadows appeared high above the group of unwary riders that were in close confines in the deep gully. A gut-wrenching scream caused old man Quaid to pivot in the saddle just in time to witness a rider topple from his horse, impaled by a huge spear protruding from his chest. Horses reared and men panicked as the rain of death fell from above. Ignoring the dead and dying, Quaid opened fire on the attacking natives and screamed, "Follow me up, get up on top, it's your only chance." Without a second glance, his spurs sank deeply into the horse's flanks, causing it to respond with lightning speed. Around the next twist in the gully, the cattle pad appeared, knifing its way up the opposite bank, and blood ran from the horse's flanks as it lunged up the narrow trail. In slow motion and devoid of any sound, except for the soft rush of air escaping from the leading edge of the primitive weapon, a large killer boomerang sliced through the air just as Quaid burst from the confined space out into the open ground. The sickening thud of breaking bones could be heard by the following riders as the fire-hardened weapon smashed into his left arm. They thought old man Quaid's number had come up. This sound and sudden movement had not escaped Quaid's horse's attention, and the animal shied away from the threatening object as it fell harmlessly to the ground. Screaming in pain, Quaid tore the reins from the now youthless left hand that hung limply at his side and wheeled his horse back towards the advancing warriors. Pushing briefly, he leaned forward, trying the reins, took the reins between his teeth, and then, holding the revolver in his right hand, sent the horse onwards toward the attackers at a murderous gallop. The searing agony from the smashed arm was blinding, but Quaid forced himself to disregard it, for this was now a fight for survival.